crazy, go crazy, crazy, no crazy, no crazy, no crazy,
No script, no notes, no beard trim. I have a lot on my plate this week between Tears of the Kingdom and Duolingo, so let's just jump right into it and talk about Vinland Saga episode 22. Now, I did have a nitpick last week when I realized, we weren't going to get to even like approaching Canute. It was just going to end with, this whole bout of Thorvin just getting punched. And I was like, well, with all the reactions that we got out of Einar and like all this like really slow movement, we could have probably gotten to finishing that 100 punch bout and then like started this episode with him traveling to Canute or just walking over to Canute. I kind of like, put it in the back of my head yesterday because I was like, that's a really small thing. And it probably like is just working that way for the chapters. When I looked at the chapters, I was like, yeah, it's just trying to hold itself together with the chapters, so I understand. But this week, now I'm just like, damn, we only got half a thing of Canute. The confrontation between Canute and Thorvin, that's pretty whack, especially seeing as though, it ended halfway, right? It kind of ended on a good thing for an episode, a cliffhanger, right? But I really hope to get all of that this week. So it's whatever. I understand. There's like, 2-3 more episodes left, so it's cool. We'll get it eventually. We'll get it before the season's over, so I'm not going to really harp on that too much longer. But I will say, Omar has no purpose, ever. Never had. I really thought he might. His purpose is just to be, I guess, traumatized throughout this whole season to maybe becoming a decent farmer in the future. But I really expected more out of him this season. Maybe we'll get a little bit out of him towards the very end, like the last 2 episodes, like when they're wrapping up and like right before the time skip, or maybe after a time skip or something like that. Maybe he's supposed to come in line, like or come into play later on down the line. But, very disappointing. Even when he and Snake approached Thorvin, at first I was like, no, don't stop this midway. Like, I know he's only a quarter of the way through, but don't let Omar's moment be cutting Thorvin off from having his moment. That's going to be so whack. Luckily, he does nothing, right? He's just standing there, as always. He's only done one thing, and that's quite literally the worst thing that's happened to the farm, which is triggering this whole little war. But yeah, at first I was like, damn, don't do this to Thorvin. At least Einar is, watching. He doesn't want this to happen, but at least he respects Thorvin's game here. Snake as well, also, like, he tries to stop it, but it's cool that, they understand, like, this is something he kind of has to do, and they get to witness that he's very capable of doing it. So that's really nice. It was very clever of Thorvin to kind of just roll with the punches, that just shows his skill. Amazing that no one else noticed it. So that whole idea of there's only 100 of them, I'll be okay, just goes to show how much more powerful Thorvin is compared to the average Jams Viking, right? He's that much higher in caliber, not just because he can probably take on 100 of them at once, but because the skill level, the eyes, like the battle experience that he has compared to them, or at least the average one, is that much different that no one in the crowd was able to notice what he was doing. And the only one who was able to even see it was the dude punching him, and that was after about 20 punches. He was starting to kind of get it. It was also really good on, I forget this guy's name, Drought is his name. Drought's able to see it, and that's pretty cool. Just goes to show his strength. But clearly, would get bodied if Thorvin was trying. It did kind of remind me of a Thorkel situation, except, Thorvin has a lot less bloodlust going on this time, and he's working with a severe handicap, and, he can't really fight back. But that just proves his point. That's really cool. He was able to prove himself. You can see by the end here that all the Vikings are just watching out of respect, and no one's cheering anymore. They're just kind of like, they're trying to witness history, right? It's like you're watching like the NBA Finals and you're about to see the first team come back from a 3-0 deficit. And even if you're not rooting for them, you're kind of just like, by the end, if you're like, oh, if they do it, this would be crazy just to experience, just to watch. It's like, when LeBron took over the scoring title. I'm shocked though, by the end, Drought is like, you can't even throw a punch. Like, that would have been funny if he didn't even make it to 100, but you can see he barely makes 200. That last punch doesn't even like really connect like that. It's just barely makes it to Thorvin's chest. Just pretty cool, a little extra dramatic, but it's still cool. What it symbolizes in total is like the idea that strength to not commit a violent act or to not combat violence with violence is stronger than the will to fight. It says a lot with a little. talking out of my ass here, as usual, just no script this time. About halfway through the episode, we finally get Thorvin and Canut's confrontation, long awaited. It's cool that Thorvin brings Einar along, but then also has to tell him, don't look at the dead bodies, because if you see Patter, you're not going to be able to control yourself. That's really nice, looking out for Einar, because, you know, Patter's most likely dead. I'm gonna jack that until I see a body, until I see him pull up. I'm pretty sure he's dead. But I'm disappointed we didn't get the "you've never held a hole in your lifeline." Maybe that comes next episode, maybe not. Maybe I'll be waiting forever on that. Now, I was gonna call Canute a huge bitch because he didn't want to meet with Thorvin. I probably already have in a past review. But I will say it's very clear from this point, maybe I was just clouded, in my own judgment. It's clear from this point that he didn't want to see Thorvin, not because he doesn't respect him or anything like that, but because he's ashamed of his own actions, right? Even when Wolf is about to bring Thorvin over, he's kind of like, when you meet the king, you understand he's not like that. He doesn't want to fight. He's a different type of king. And he has, he rationalizes his actions like any other person would in his position, but you can see that, underneath all this duty to, do this, do that, he's a kind-hearted individual, especially when he brings out the fact that, like, hey, I'm trying to save the Vikings. If the Vikings are the ones that we use for war, it's probably the best thing for me to save them first. And Thorvin even knows how that's actually a good idea. As for why, I'm still not there yet. I mean, I'd understand, right? Just from the episode's context, it's a good idea because, again, they're the ones who you use for war. So if you take away the threat of war, or the main fire behind war, not the fire behind war, that's not a good way to put that. If you take away war's vehicle to exist, right, which is through its soldiers, then there's no war, right? I mean, maybe that's the first half of it. Maybe it's just this teeny tiny first part of it. And what Canute has in line down the line is just to do something more with that information. Clearly, he and Thorvin are on the same page on that. Not really in terms of execution, but just like how that just might be a good route to take. Einar, not the same. We get some nasty faces this episode, mainly from Einar, but we do get one Aaron rage face out of Thorvin right before the whole drop bit, which is pretty cool. I love that a lot. Shout out to Mappa. I really thought Canute was about to show how off the deep end he was when he tried to stop waves. And I mean, I guess he kind of still is, right? He's taken this whole idea of, humanity is kind of locked out of heaven because of their first sin. So this is all God's fault. And now he's kind of like trying to rebel against God, which I guess metaphorically might be cool. Right, the idea of, let's go against human nature because human nature had to have been decided by some higher power. So if we all collectively go against our own nature and show this higher power that we can be not what we were created to be, then maybe we'll, get the keys back to the city. I don't know where this is supposed to go in the long run. I just know that they both have good sides to their arguments. Thorvin has yet to really make an argument, but I guess his idea is kind of just like, you can't fight. Why the hell are you guys fighting? Let's go talk to the man who starts wars. And Canute's kind of just like, nah, I'm going to use the facts of the world to my advantage. Not in a malicious way, but just in the sense of, well, this is all I can really do. This is all the power that I have. I'm just doing my part in the same way that Thorvin's trying to do his part. And in that same vein, right, they're both doing their part, but their part, I guess the goal of what they're trying to do is become better, right? Canute's not trying to lead these Vikings for any reason to actually have a war against God. He's trying to lead the Vikings to become better men so that they can see the world around them and, have their own salvation, have the same moment that Thorvin was able to have on the farm. They're just trying to go about it different ways. The only person who doesn't really seem to be keen on that idea is Einar. And that's because, respectfully, he's someone who suffered from, the things that Thorvin and Canute have done or are doing, right? Like Canute's doing the same things that Thorvin did in his past. So they're both very free to feel guilty when being confronted by someone like Einar, someone who's seen the drastic left turn that war can take. I don't really see this last move on Canute's part as a threat. His decision to surround Thorvin and Einar with the Yams Vikings. Maybe it's a tactical threat because he sees Einar getting hot, but that Thorvin's not about that, right? He knows by the time that Thorvin even gets here, he's briefed on how he even got here by Wolf. that he's not about to try and kill him, right? He's going to threaten him to just see if Thorfinn himself can go against human nature and go, oh, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. Let's find another way around. Maybe that's his test here, right? It's just to see if this guy who used to be a stone cold killer has now turned into a good person. If he does not buckle under this type of pressure and he's able to find a different way out, because to my knowledge, there's no other way around the situation, right? It's either you give up the farm or you kill Canute and 100 Yams Vikings and then keep the farm, but you go against everything that you've been trying to prove you're not, you know? So good move. There's a really good game of chess going on here. But I think the best part of all is that Canute's getting all of his recognition. So pulling up, not Canute, sorry, that Thorfinn's getting all his recognition because he's pulling up with a battered face, choosing not to fight. And then as he pulls up to the king, Einar gets to hear that he's scarred him. He's the guy who scarred the king. He fought Thorkel. Like, it's like he's getting to see just how much more powerful Thorfinn is than he could even imagine, right? Like, he's experienced his power firsthand. But he also can't, but now he can get Thorfinn's history and just kind of see, like, you know, some of his accolades. Same with Wolf, right? He's also learning that Thorfinn is this exact person who he's probably heard about before. But I don't know, rebellion against God sounds a little cheesy, sounds a little 7th grade emo phase, but I mean, when you got the power to do it, I guess it's everyone's 7th grade emo phase at that point. Although I will be upset if Canute never really has to face the demons that he has created, right? If he kind of gets away with the King Swain ghost for too much longer without being able to, like, you know, confront himself on killing his dad, killing his brother, right? Like, those are two very, very hardcore don't do that things, even if he has a vision, right? Like, find another way around. If you can't find another way around, then you're kind of just like, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, this is how human nature is. Like, no, this is how you are. You're perpetuating your own negativity by just kind of rationalizing it beforehand or rationalizing it after the fact, right? You can't rationalize before, can you? But yeah, that's it. That's the King Rebellion. Good episode. I'll be waiting for the season finale. I doubt it's not next week, but I'm just saying, I can't wait to see what the next 2 episodes gives us, or 3 episodes. I don't even know if it's slated for 25. Let's see. Matter of fact, I'm not going to look it up because fucking Oshinoko is wilding out too. So I'm not going to really trust Mal with episode lists right now because we're not on good terms right now. But yeah, sorry again, not a lot of editing, not a lot of fun stuff going on in this review. I have a lot of stuff to do, but I just wanted to get my thoughts out. So I will be streaming probably right when this video drops. So if you're watching this at the time of release, hi, my name is Shonen, Weekly Shonen, and I will be streaming Zelda until the day that I die, probably. So come over and watch me build some mechs or attempt to build stuff on Tears of the Kingdom, because that's probably what I'm going to be doing today. And if not, and you see this video a different day, don't worry, I'm probably still going to be walking around the land of Hyrule, in the depths, in the Sky Islands, just listening to One Piece YouTubers talk about the most recent chapters, listening to other Zelda lore, and just kind of like fucking around. So yeah, enjoy. If that's not your style, it's whatever. Okay, I've officially started rambling, so I'm out of here. You be safe. Bye.